I knew this was gonna happen, but I didn't know it was gonna be this soon, brother.
I know, me neither.
So before we get started, brother Brennan, before I introduce and this and that, I just want to give you a gift. I'm gonna just show the camera real quick. Okay, we got a little Kalapana action for brother Brand Dog right here.
Yes, sir.
And I hope you are size large. If not, I get XL and medium.
Large and in charge.
Oh,
perfect.
He said it.
Shoots. Thank you. I appreciate him.
Nah, no way, bro. Thank you. For those of you tuning in, how's it? And welcome back to another episode of Howsdis podcast. Your favorite, your mother's favorite, your father's favorite. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have a very special guest, and it's super interesting how we met. Brother Brennan Ikeda. Let's just get into it. Brother Brennan. Between me and Brandon, we met Brennan through an Instagram story post. Yeah. Okay. It was a little bit before we got the warehouse. Mm-hmm. And we was looking for build out our Hawaii fight style set. And I asked my followers if they knew where I could get a bob punching dummy. Because if you live in Hawaii, you know how impossible it is to get. Dick's Sporting Goods, Sports Authority in Hawaii never have. And brother Brennan slides into my DM and says, brah, I'm flying to Cali. I'm sorry, I'm flying from Cali to Big Island. And, I'll kind of let you explain the story and kind of how that happened. And what kind of mindset you were in to just, obviously you watched my vids, but you did tell me like, I might as well just try them.
Yeah. So I've been following Brother Z for a while now and love his content. I was watching Hawaii Fight Styles from way back when.
Yeah.
And then I seen the story. I was at work scrolling through Instagram, popped up on my stories, and he said, hey, can anybody get me this fight dummy? And so I slid in. I was like, hey, I'm flying out. I can do it. Can do. And then I was like, he has like 150,000 followers. There's no way he's going to see this DM. I get a reply back, nah, you can. I was like, oh my gosh, he replied. So I went text him back and I was like, yeah, I can do it. Shoot me your number. I'll give you a call. We'll figure it all out. Gave him a ring and I was like, yeah, I'm flying out next week. And as soon as I get off work, I'll go Dick's, buy one, and then take him on oversized luggage and we'll make it work. And so then he's like, okay, shoots. And then I kind of felt like he was like, I don't know if this guy is for real.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if we're being honest, 100%.
There's no way. Like, we never met before, ever. Just through Instagram, random follower. And so then I was like, okay, yeah, shoots. And then went to Dick's right when I got off work, sent him a picture, took up my whole back seat. I was like, oh, dude, this box is pretty big. And I told him, yeah, I'd make it work. I called Hawaiian Airlines beforehand and I was like, hey, how's it going to work with like oversized luggage and what's this kind of going to cost? Like, is it going to be cheaper for me to ship it or to fly with it? And the lady said it was all good. We ended up checking in and I told my boy who was dropping me off at the airport, I was like, hey, stay at the curb real quick because I need to make sure this goes through because if it's going to be too crazy, we might take it back and just mail them over.
Yeah.
And so, it all worked out. Got to the counter, called you up, made sure everything was cherry. And then, we go.
Bruh. Mind you guys, Brandon never even take 1 penny from me until Brada landed. How much was that dummy? 6.
I forget how much it was.
I think maybe after all the
with the shipping or like with the baggage fees, I think it was close to 5-6.
Yeah, which is heavy. But I remember you reaching out and I was getting so excited. But I was telling Brandon, I was like, bro, I hope this happens. It's kind of the only way I can get this dummy.
Well, you were trying for a while to get it, right?
Yeah.
Like we were looking and then we were calling and then we're like, nobody would send it. No, none of the companies would send it.
No,
Amazon wouldn't send it. eBay wouldn't send it. Like nobody would send it.
Yeah. Bro, you like talk discrimination. They do not ship to Hawaii. They don't give up. I told the seller, I don't care this is the only way I can get them. And then here comes my knight in shining armor. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the coolest part is like the community, right? Mm-hmm. The fact that you ask and then there are people who are like willing to like kind of go out of their way and kind of, it's kind of humbug to go out and like grab a dummy, this thing was big.
Huge. No, I have photos and videos, Brand, that I will clip
Oh no, 100%. Like I'm fat, and that thing is bigger than me. Like you know what I mean?
No,
Like, freaking,
no,
like,
you're solid.
Yeah.
No, there's a big difference.
Yeah. But I'm just like, bruh, this thing is huge. I mean, when he came out of the gate with that big old box, I was like, whoa.
No, the amount
crazy.
of TSA tape around that thing was crazy, hoy.
Oh no, that thing got inspected.
Oh, 100%. Thing got violated.
Yeah,
I think so.
I know, it was like prison.
Yeah, that thing is, I mean, that thing probably has like declared residency in California. And the thing is now one Hawaii resident right there. But yeah, guy, I think, you know, from that, so the day that Brennan came down, super in disbelief, we go and pick him up, and there he is, Hawaiian Airlines freaking curbside with this thing bigger than him, the box. We grab him, and did we just go to lunch? What happened?
Yeah, we went straight to
We
Shores
grabbed
for
it.
lunch.
We went to lunch. Did you go? You have a helicopter tour that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you went and dropped me off at the helicopter tour for the doors off, and then we were literally on the runway at the airport or wherever it was, and then we got grounded because of the weather that day.
And then we went to
Yeah.
lunch.
No,
Or
we went
dinner.
lunch before, and then afterwards we went Asami's, Omori's
What do you mean?
after the helicopter ride.
Oh, where we went?
Omori's.
Guy.
Timbers. Was it?
No, Timbers was before.
Timbers was
This is
before.
before.
You dropped me off.
Oh,
and
because you
then,
guys went after.
we went
Oh, it's just me.
Simon.
Oh, Hamor. Oh, yeah.
Omori's.
Hamora's.
Hamora.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But no, because my friend owns a shop called Mori.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, but that's Oahu.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
said, we never
no,
cruise
no,
Oahu
yeah, no,
yet.
Not there, not there.
That's right. Hoy, that's right. We had round 2 Hanaho at
Yeah.
freaking Hamura's.
Oh yeah, you guys went after. Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, heavy. But now it was just super cool. Like, you know, for one, that it happened because I really needed it.
Yeah.
2, you're freaking cool, guy. You're freaking down to earth. You know what I mean? Good and interesting because, guy, please tell everyone. So where are you from, Brennan?
So originally, I'm from California, born and raised in Orange County, but most of my family stays on the Big Island, Hilo side.
There we go. Shout out
So,
Hilo
H-Town.
Town. Yeah.
So I've probably spent like a third of my life here, but between spring break, Christmas break, you know, summer break, day after school got out, my sister and I would fly out here 3-4 months, stay here, and then day before school goes back is when we'd go back and we'd just go straight into school again. So I spent most of my time over here too, but yeah, from California, Orange County.
I mean, okay. So you always travel with your sister because even now, you guys, every time I see your photos and stuff like that, she's always there.
Yeah,
So-
it does line up a lot of the times. Sometimes not so much, but yeah, most of the Hawaii trips were usually coming around the same time.
Major FOMO guarantees would
Yeah.
have to block you on IG a little while. Yeah.
Send me pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, you're kind of a dynamic person. I would say. I mean, maybe it's like awkward for you to say it, but like, so you're a firefighter, right? And then you're telling me you were LA County before, right?
I'm currently
LA,
County.
and you're in Orange County before that.
Yeah, I was a
you
reserve for
switched
Orange
over.
County Fire.
Okay, and like it's just different because like you're in like an urban kind of area, right?
Right now, yes.
Yeah. Versus like all the guys I know in Hawaii, like they're firefighters, but they're more like helicopter and like jet ski
rescue
guys.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're all about like rescue. That's just like the name of the game. But over there is like burning buildings.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of telling us all kinds of stories. I'm like, oh, that sounds way too gnarly.
Yeah.
Like,
Bruh, you showed me a video from,
I think it was
Pretty-
right after I got back.
yeah, close up,
Yeah.
in range, in striking distance. You know what I mean? Like Brandon was saying, it is so different, you know, than down here when you get, I mean, how many stories was that? How big was that building?
That one was a 2-story structure, and most of LA County, like in our jurisdiction, like we have mid-rise. The only high-rise we really have is in West Hollywood, so only a couple stations are in that jurisdiction with like legitimate high-rise.
Yeah.
But I'd say most of the time it's going to be single-story or 2-story like dwellings or commercial buildings. And those are few and far between. It just so happened that right after I got back, we popped that one. Most of it is like 90%, I would say, medicals. So similar to here, you know, just running medical calls, you know, chest pain, difficulty breathing, that kind. But yeah, when we do get the fires, whether it's RV fire, truck fire, house fire, commercial fire, like it
Okay,
is
so
action.
how much homeless people you guys got to deal with?
Plenty.
Bruh.
No, because we were just up there last week.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we were downtown, so it's even worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're like driving like down 6th Street, and it's just like,
Yeah.
I'll be so bummed to have to go there.
No, they're everywhere, you know, but you know, whether it's the CEO of a company or homeless person, you know, you're still treating everybody with the same level of care and professionalism. But yeah, we do get a majority of calls because even if they're not the ones calling or don't necessarily want help, some bystanders will call and be like, hey, this guy's passed out, like, and they'll call 911.
Bruh.
He's might just be sleeping, or he is legitimately passed out or unconscious for some reason. So yeah,
I think so for sure. I seen about 4 people passed out, but I never called because I said, I don't know. You know, no, because
Just taking a nap.
yeah,
Kanak attack.
yeah, 100%. I don't know what he'd eat or never eat, and he's out cold. But like Brandon was saying, we went to for those of you tuning in, we actually used Brennan's Tesla up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but brother, you was so close to having a big dent in your car because when we was on 6th Street, had one guy in the middle of the road, and for me, I watch the movies, bruh. You know what I mean? If you coming down, that's a tactic. They want you to stop, and then they're gonna bombard your car.
Yep.
So I said, just drive.
Full speed.
Oh man, like yeah, it was crazy, but yeah, you guys must get after it up there.
It is pretty busy. And I was literally just talking with my uncle who works for Hawaii County on the Big Island. And we were just talking about call volumes and stuff like that. Cause I did get hired with them last summer.
Yeah.
And I kind of held out hoping LA County would pan out, and everything kind of did work out. But yeah, he was just saying, you know, over there, it might, like some of my, or what would have been my classmates, they might run 1 call a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then my station isn't the busiest, but I try to pick up overtime at like the busy stations. And I think our busiest station, where I'm trying to get to, like across all the apparatus, they're running like 60 plus calls a day on average.
Oh.
So it's just constantly tones going off in and out. Like you're not sleeping at night, but it's all fun.
I know that was an interesting thing. Like when we talked, when you're eating lunch, you like a lot of people kind of like shy away from the action. You're like, no, I want in. Like I want the busiest station I can find.
And even more so, even after I clock my hours, I'm going. Still yet.
Yep. For me, it's just kind of like you're getting into this career, this profession, and you kind of want to actually do it, you know? You don't want to just be the one hanging out at the station and, you know, not running calls, but just collecting a paycheck. I kind of look at it as, but you know, obviously there are those stations and you need to be prepared just in case somebody does call 911 and, you know, you're up. But for me, especially being younger and, you know, being green to the fire service and just getting in, like, I feel like the best way to lay a solid foundation and hone my skills is by being busy and being in the action right away and getting those calls. Cause yeah, if you're not getting the reps, you can only train and practice simulations for so much, but the real thing, it's different.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, and to your point, right? If I seen that fire, the one you sent me, guess where I'm running? Oh wait.
Oh yeah, the other way.
Yeah. No, so that's pretty cool. So you actually, what was the reason to choose I guess the mainland over Hawaii, Big Island?
Yeah, that's a pretty solid question, and I don't really know if there's definitely a short answer, but that took a lot of deliberation, like deliberation, prayer, talking with my family. And it was probably one of the hardest decisions I've had to make to this day, because it's not like, oh, where are you going to go to college for 4 years? It's like, where are you going to spend the next 30 years doing this career, you know?
Yeah.
And so the hard part was I had an official offer from Hawaii County on the Big Island. Like, I can start guaranteed job. And then for LA County, I never even had the offer yet. So I was kind of playing this gambling game. I know we talked a little bit about Vegas and gambling, but I was like, okay, so I have this for sure thing in my pocket basically with Hawaii County, or I'm still holding out for LA County. And I took it down to an Excel spreadsheet. I had by year, like pros, cons, like short term, medium term, long term goals, what's going to be best for me and my family. And yeah, basically what it came down to is, you know, nothing's guaranteed, especially in this line of work. And for the short term and medium term, at least, I think LA County would be my best bet. Like I said, learning the job and being the best firefighter I could be and getting all that action and all the reps in. Benefits and schedule and everything too gets factored in. But that kind of basically swayed my decision, talking with my family. My mom just retired in December, and she's planning on retiring back to the Big Island at least 6 months out of the year. And like I said, my grandma's and everybody stays over there. So that kind of weighed into, and I was like, you know, everybody's going to be here. I'm going to be the only one in California still working, but what's best for me right now? And I think, to be honest, long-term wise, Hawaii County would be the better option, just with family and the dynamics of the job. I know like cancer research and everything going on right now, like we have like a crazy increased risk for all sorts of cancer. Like I don't know the exact percentages.
Being in LA.
Just being a firefighter in general,
got you.
Especially in LA, because you think about like the more fires you go on and like the more cancer causing carcinogens you're exposing your body to versus if you're not running plenty calls, or you know, you're running medicals here but not plenty structure fires or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just like that long-term exposure that you're consistently being exposed to. And so we were talking about that because cancer kind of has affected my family a lot. And my grandfather was in the fire service. He ended up getting cancer too. He was on the Big Island, still yet. But yeah, like long term, that would probably be the safer bet, like health wise, just because you're not exposing yourself to those carcinogens or that stress load for, you know, a 30-year career. So.
Bro, yeah, it's just like blueberry smoothies every day. Like, just gotta get the antioxidant. That's crazy though. I never would have thought about that as like one of the deciding factors. Like, I mean, it totally makes sense, but like, I would have never like that would have been like top of mind. Like, oh yeah, what about the medical risk? I mean, to me, it'd be like the death risk of fire. Yeah, you know, not necessarily the long
major
term.
No, point blank.
Yeah.
Like if I would have get calls 3 times a week or whatever compared to 60, guys, it's black and white for me.
I know if you just ran the probability risk, you're like, well, it's a lot lower.
Yeah, and I think for me, I think for anybody going into it, it kind of depends where you're at too in life. Like if you're married with kids and you want to be home and like not be beat after the shift, like you might not want to run 60 calls a shift. But you know, me being 27, single, just getting in and like all gung ho for it, like yeah, I'll run 60 calls or 30 calls a shift. And I want that action and I want that busyness. And if I'm dead tired on my day off, I don't really have any responsibilities aside from my dog. But I don't really have any responsibilities, so I can just take a nap and recharge and get ready to go into work the next day.
Sick. You're a bit of a gambler, aren't you?
Yeah, so I did frequent Vegas a little bit. We kind of talked about this the last time we was here.
Yeah,
and,
don't give away the secrets. You need to start like an online class or something.
Master class.
Yeah, please just give them just enough, and then we hit them with the $7.99 subscription. Nah, that's so. And then that's when you were in between, like deciding that you're gonna be, I mean, doing the academy, or did you have offers, or were you just doing that Vegas often?
Yeah, so Vegas was kind of during college and after college, just for fun, just like extra money on the side, and it kind of ended up being like a second job almost. Pretty
major though, right?
Yeah. So it did help me out significantly financially, but. Yeah, the whole appeal with Vegas, like my friends still like going to Vegas, like for birthdays or, you know, for the weekend or whatever. And to be honest, it kind of has lost its appeal because just with like the strategy I implemented to try to be successful in gambling out there, it did almost become like a job and like a part-time job or second job. And like my most successful summer, like I was home from school for 90 days and I flew out to Vegas 47 times out of those 90 days. just rinse and repeating this strategy. So
Guy.
Was it kind of boring? Because like you got this super good strategy. So does it take away like that excitement of the risk?
Or yes and no. I mean, a little bit, just because you're like, oh, this is kind of easy, or oh, you know, like I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. But once that risk comes, or once you end up getting hit with like a bad streak and you end up losing a little bit, you're like, I like when it's easy. I don't like feeling that feeling, you know? And so, yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah, it did kind of become, the strategy is pretty simple. And so it does get monotonous and you're like, okay, it's like kind of just like work, you know, like just if I was like plugging numbers into QuickBooks or something.
Yeah.
So,
You just get your check at the end of the day.
yeah.
So in 90 days, you flew 47 times to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
Bruh.
like every other
yeah,
day.
yeah, pretty much.
And
More than every other day.
you, if there was a person that could describe the 9th island,
Yeah.
it's you.
Yeah. Zippy's coming soon.
Yeah, right? Oh, that's a Tiffy's plug, yeah? So for all my aunties and uncles that think that you guys love Vegas, ain't nobody love Vegas, and you guys can go in the next 20 years as much as you guys go now, and you're not going to even touch how much time's Brennan been there in 90 days. So when you was going there, what walk us through what that's like? Because for someone who's like been around the table, and I used to travel with a good friend who was a gambler, and enjoyed it. I was never that. I'm over there on the fish slots, you know, Willy Wonka, like doing my thing. But like, what is it? Like you land, you're there for a few hours, you cut yourself off, or what's that like?
Yeah. So, I wasn't really disciplined in the beginning. I was kind of just running with it, you know, college kid with no job, and this kind of became like a part-time summer job. And so as I got more disciplined, it did become a little bit more regimented. And so basically I would just fly in, and sometimes I had my return flight home. Sometimes I would just book while I was there. And then my main two things I kind of took away was stick to the strategy and don't stay on the table longer than you need to. So I implemented this strategy strictly on table games, specifically with roulette. But basically what I kind of figured out is you kind of have to give yourself like a cutoff point, whether it's how much you're going to lose or what your net profit you're trying to achieve is. Because once you hit that, it's hard, especially with the strategy. You can go up money pretty quick, and you know, you're up, you know, a couple $1,000 and you're like, oh, I'm winning, I'm not going to hop off the table. Or, oh, like this is just house money I'm playing with, I'll just play a little bit longer. That's when it ends up turning around and biting you. And like, we can go into the statistics and everything if you want to, but basically Vegas always has an edge, and they always say like the house always wins, or, you know, that's how Vegas keeps the lights on, but it's really true. And if you actually look at the statistical breakdown of like different bets on the table, just for roulette specifically, there's a true like value of -4 to 7 cents on every bet you can play on the roulette table. So basically, if you were to play till infinity and statistics held true, you're going to lose 4 to 7 cents on the dollar that you wager over the course of your table play. So that's why when people think, oh, I'm winning, let me keep riding the hot streak, you're actually beating that 4 to 7 cents of true expected value. So eventually it has to regress back to the mean, and that's where Vegas eventually ends up winning their money back. Nobody can stay on the table forever and win forever. It's statistically impossible. So that's why creating that cutoff point of like, okay, I made $100, like that was my goal, I'm gonna hop off the table with my 100. That's probably like one of the most important things you could do, because yeah, if you're beating the odds to create a profit for yourself and have house money, the longer you stay on the table, eventually they're gonna take that back.
Interesting.
Super interesting, because it's almost like trading then.
Yeah, no,
Like it's almost like, yeah, working the stock market.
Yeah.
Like if you're disciplined and you're like, this is my plan for today, this is where I'm gonna go. If I go down this much, I'm done. You know, you cut your losses.
Yeah.
And then super interesting.
No, yeah, that's crazy.
And I feel like having the luxury to be able to go as often as I could, just like a 40 minute flight from California to Vegas, definitely is advantageous. Because if I was flying from here, it's a little bit different, you know.
God.
You're not flying.
You wanna get your
Yeah,
money's
you're
worth.
not
You're
flying
like, no, I'm
every other
staying.
day. Yeah, so you're like, oh, I need to make this weekend worth it. But then if you know you're gonna go back 2 days later, 3 days later, you're like, oh, I don't need to make $10,000. I can just try to shoot for $200 this time and just keep stacking those up each time. So I think that is a bit of an advantage, and kind of equate it to like people with Disneyland passes. Like if you're coming from Hawaii and you know you're there for a 3-day park hopper, you want to maximize it from time gates open till it closes, because you're like, oh, I paid for these tickets, I want to make the most of it while I'm here. But people who have annual passes, like some of my friends in high school and college and stuff, they'll go eat dinner at like, you know, wherever, Pirates, and then ride one ride, watch fireworks, and go home because they don't feel pressed like they need to cram everything in the whole day, you know. And I think that relates a lot to Vegas. So
that's me. Yeah, and guys, the way that this whole conversation even started was because Brennan asked if we ever needed rooms if we're in Vegas. He said, "What you mean? What do you like?
Are you own a hotel?
Yeah. Like what else are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh no, I just have like a bunch of rooms, different places." So I'm like, "Oh." So we never took you up on that, but guy,
not yet.
Not yet.
Still stands.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
No, I mean it's just crazy. So like, and we learned all this within a few hours.
Over lunch, guys.
Yeah, and then we haven't even gotten to your like social media mogulness yet. But yeah, just super interesting. Like it's very like, because we had no idea who was coming in. We're like, oh, hopefully it doesn't kill us.
And then
like do something.
Yeah, like for how random it was that we met, and then I mean the chances that it would have led to this is like, I'm always open to it, but I'm like, whatever. Like if he's gonna bring it, that's cool. But for it to spin off and so, I mean, you let her see your car, guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? For all you trust issue relationships out there, brah, you better talk to Brandon because he got trust.
You know that.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're done with Vegas for a little bit.
For a little bit. Yep.
Okay. So me and you, we have something in common where we have built audiences on social media.
Yeah. Small kind for me, but yeah.
Yeah, guy, it's not small kind. It's a please plug the handle and kind of tell people how you started and you know why you even got into that.
Yeah. So when Instagram first came out, my friends and I, obviously everybody was on Instagram, and we were putting all those preset filters on, like Visco, X2, all that.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, look how cool these rocks are. Taking pictures of all kinds of stuff. And then eventually my buddy and I, we realized like there were a bunch of Instagram contests, and all these different companies or brands or organizations were trying to build their Instagram followings or, you know, create a bigger audience. And so what we started doing was entering a bunch of Instagram contests. And so
not the kind that you do where you win prizes, like a giveaway.
Sometimes, yeah, depending on what it was. Like, so it might be, you know, post a photo with this hashtag, and the most liked photos in this order win these grand prizes.
Sick. Or, got you.
You know, tag us in this video, and we're gonna choose a random winner to win.
Be featured or be okay.
Exactly. And so we just entered as many of those as we could because we're like, free stuff. All we need to do is just post content. Okay, like we're not gonna win it if we don't post anything, so might as well just throw our hat in the ring and post something.
Yeah.
So we started doing that, and then we started winning some stuff, whether it was free camera gear or free merch. And then like the biggest one we ended up winning was this LA Galaxy contest. So like our local like MLS professional soccer team, LA Galaxy, they posted an Instagram contest, and it just said, post a picture with LA Galaxy stuff or at the game with this hashtag, and the most liked photo is going to win this like major prize. It was like 4 free tickets to the game, on-field passes, like $1,000 to their team store, and all kinds of stuff. And so that was the biggest organization that we had entered a contest for up until this point. And so they had a pretty decent following already, just because everybody who was LA Galaxy fans is following this account. So then I was like, oh, like, let's do this one. I feel like we could get some decent exposure and, you know, maybe get some residual followers from it. And then that'll help with future contests. And so we entered it. And then, yeah, like we recruited just like a bunch of our friends. Everybody was posting word of mouth, like just getting everybody to like and share this one post. And then I remember, I forget what the account was, but this one girl had posted, and she was probably the closest in the amount of likes to me. And so then my buddy and I were like, let's just block her real quick so then she can't see how many likes we're at. So then she doesn't know how many she needs to get for
working algorithms, guys.
So then, yeah, she even complained. And then one of the reps had emailed us throughout the contest and was saying like, oh, like something about like everything has to be public posts and like you can't have anybody blocked or something. So it's all fair. So everybody knew where everybody stood kind of deal. So we ended up doing that, but we were still ahead, but we just made sure we stayed ahead. And then, yeah, that was pretty much what kind of got most of my Instagram followers on my personal page is from that contest. So we ended up winning. And so my sister and two of my buddies, we went to the game, and then they had posted me when I won on their account, and they're like, hey, here's our grand prize winner, Brennan Ikeda. And so I was like, oh, sweet. And I started getting some random followers and stuff. And then what was super cool that I didn't know that they were going to do was at halftime, they brought us down, and like we were wearing all our LA Galaxy stuff we went to go get at the store with their credit they gave. And they had an autographed jersey that they were giving away at halftime. And so what they did was, hey, everybody go follow at Brennan Ikeda. They put my name, my Instagram handle
in the stadium
on the Jumbotron.
Wow.
And so just my phone in my pocket just started vibrating like crazy. I was like, oh, I need to turn off my notifications or something. I'm going to lose. My phone's about to die. But yeah, I just got a flood of followers from all these people just trying to win this jersey. And so, yeah, they picked one random winner off my followers, and then they ended up winning the jersey in the game at the stadium. But that kind of built up a bunch of followers from that. And then it was kind of weird. As soon as I hit that 10K mark and you get the little K next to it instead of just random numbers like 9,376 or whatever. Yeah. Like people just thought I was important maybe. I don't know. But like I would get random followers. So on a week to week basis, I'd get like, you know, plus 500 followers. And then I never follow anybody back because I never knew them or cared to. And then I'd go down like 400 people, like just because they unfollowed. They're like, oh, who is this random guy? Or, oh, he never followed back. I'm gonna just unfollow him. So it would fluctuate a lot, but yeah, it kind of just built up from there. And going into that, I was like, oh yeah, we won a bunch of free stuff. It was cool. I actually never posted on my personal page for a long time, and then I ended up getting a puppy. And so then I was like, hey, remember when we were winning all this free stuff through Instagram contests? And I was like, I feel like you can do the same thing with puppies, you know? And so I was that dog dad who created an Instagram page for my dog. And so from the time we had her, made an Instagram account. My sister, she was the best content creator, social media manager. She handles all that. I mainly message people for brand deals, sponsorships, that kind of thing. But pretty much all the content on her page, she curates, whether it's photos, videos, reels, stuff like that, stories. And yeah, we just started posting a bunch of stuff of the dog, like nothing crazy. Like she's not one of the bulldogs that can skateboard or anything like that, but just posting cute pictures of her. And then, yeah, like, sure enough, brands like literally hit her up and are like, hey, like we want to send you this harness or this leash and just post a story with it and add this hashtag, or like we'll do a paid partnership and post like on this day with this stuff. And I was like, oh, this is like, she's like literally an influencer, like a puppy influencer.
No, full on.
Yeah, and she actually has more followers than me now, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, it's pretty nuts to think that literally there's this whole community or this whole like behind the scenes thing that people never even think about. Like you're posting content, but she's reaping all these benefits of stuff that she would probably post anyways. Yeah. So, yeah, no,
that nuts. That it is nuts. I went, you know, when Big Island was erupting, just this last one. Yep. cousin. We were on the freaking helipad or wherever they take off from, and then we're leaving, and then it's the next group to come into the helicopter. Bruh, if it wasn't a celebrity dog, and I forget what kind of dog. It was real like fluffy, kind of like a medium-sized dog.
Yeah.
Real nice. I mean, the hair and everything was so perfect. But, and like, bro, there were fans. Like people oh my gosh, is that? I'm like, bro, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And here I am with my 150K. And I'm like, bro, this dog probably is topping like 150 mil or something. Because that dog had one photographer from Nat Geo, and then just like their management, you know, stylist, like to make sure that bro, I was like, isn't that some kind of like ASPCA like violation or something?
Yeah, cue Sarah McLachlan.
Oh shoots, that was not my best, but no. So it is a I mean, at one point, like when I first started Instagram, I looked up what was the top fastest growing accounts, and it was dogs or animals, fitness, and then models. But yeah, I mean, it still seems to be the thing.
Well, I mean, pets are the fastest growing sector in the business world, or one of, you know. Like, it's kind of crazy because like less people are having kids and more people are having pets, and they
Thank the Lord.
And they spend choke money.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I spend too much money on my dogs, but at the same time, not like some people.
But you're not booking a private helicopter tour.
Well, I wish I was. That means they were making that
true.
much money.
That's true. To have a guy from Nat Geo.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. So I mean, if I was, then I'd be like, we don't have to do this.
That's true. Yeah. You can eat whatever you like.
Yeah.
Wagyu.
No, the dog eats better than us.
Yeah.
85.
They'll go to LA and just get like free meals.
Straight omakase.
Yeah,
Just dogs,
every
just
time.
puppies.
Yeah.
I know.
Just otoro. Oh, that's sick. So you guys still are active then?
Yeah. We go in waves. Like, it's nothing too serious where it's like planned out or, you know, we have all this content lined up. It's kind of just as we go and depending on our schedules and what we have going on. But yeah, like we try to, you know, trending reels or, you know, trending audio that can work with some of the footage we have. You know, we'll be like, oh, we'll push this out. But yeah, here and there, but definitely trying to grow. She's like just shy of like 19K right now. So
you gotta push it.
Yeah, she's doing pretty good.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, just kind of for fun, and it wasn't really anything to like make plenty money off of or anything like that. It was just like, we're gonna buy her food, treats, you know, toys, leash, harness, collars, whatnot, anyways. And so we're like,
might as well get it for free.
Yeah, we're like, if Instagram will pay for it, or if these brands will like sponsor her and give it to her for free to just post pictures with it, I was like, might as well, because that's an expense that I would have paid anyways. So
yeah. See, I thought the same thing when I first started, but I was just way too lazy.
Yeah,
just way too lazy. I couldn't do it. It's like that takes so much like work. Yeah. It's kind of like legit work.
Yeah, no, it does take way more work, and I feel like I have the easy job of just creating the
managing,
just messaging the for the deals and the sponsorships. And I feel like definitely the hard part is on my sister's shoulders, like actually getting the footage, because it's not like a human where you could be like, hey Brennan, like pose like this and you know, go jump off this rock wearing these board shorts. And so it's like, you know, you gotta definitely do the trick where you hold the phone and have the treats dangling behind the lens and, you know, take a video and then screenshot just the good portions of the video, because, you know,
I'm gonna have to invent something that attaches to your phone that dangles treats right
just
behind.
Just holds a treat above.
And
an accessory.
Compatible with all kind of DSLRs.
You probably sell a choke.
Bro, honestly.
For sure.
Guy, I actually started a freaking dog account too. I don't have dogs, but I knew it was to feature other dogs, and people started to tag me.
Yeah.
So what is your dog's Instagram?
Yeah, let's put it up now.
Yeah, my dog's Insta is at Lulu the Blue, THEE, because Lulu the Blue was taken. So at
the
Lulu
Blue.
the Blue.
Oh,
medieval.
Yeah. What is it? Royalty.
Yeah. Queen Lulu.
Bible type.
Yeah.
Royal Lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started one called Puppy Genome. And I was going to do like the print on demand, like printful merch, mugs, all that stuff. But I mean, that was like 8 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And the thing is just, I haven't posted.
Yeah, dormant.
Boy, big time. And that's a hair in my mouth.
Puppy hair.
Yeah, see it?
That's what happens. You have puppies.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah, that's why. Once I start talking, I'm like, oh, celebrity.
Just manifest.
Celebrity dog.
Yes.
Alright. But then I have one question.
Yeah.
Like obviously you messaged Xavier back, but like why? And I guess my point in asking that is like we always get together and we like have these brainstorming sessions about like what do we have to do as a brand to get people engaged, right? Because there's a lot of people with followers.
Yeah.
But I guess our thesis is how do we get people to feel like they're part of, they're not like on the outside, they're like working with us. And that's kind of why with you, it was such a cool story or such a cool thing that happened is that kind of manifested, right? Like where, oh wait, we asked and somebody like kind of came through and
Big time.
we needed somebody, right?
Yes.
And then it ended up being like, oh, so wait, it's not, because we don't ever feel, I mean, maybe we talk about it, that we're better than anybody and that like anything that like our goal is to kind of create a community that benefits everybody, right? That has a positive impact on everything we touch.
Yeah.
You know, so because of that, I just curious, like what kind of caused you to do that? You know, was there like a trust in Xavier and the content he's put out or, you know, stuff like that?
I feel like just being a fan and like enjoying the content you guys are pushing. Obviously, I want to see you guys be successful and I want to continue seeing, you know, stuff that's going to just make me laugh or smile or, you know, you're having a junk day and you just see a funny video and then you bust laugh and you're like showing your friends like, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
And I think it also has to do with the time, like we talked about earlier in the pod, like me spending most of my time here. And I think growing up with that like sense of like Ohana and Hawaii community, like you are more willing, I want to say, to kind of just go out of your way to even help strangers. Like I know you guys just said you were in LA and, you know, guys standing in the middle of the street trying to steal your car. And over here, it's like, you know, green light, you're ready to go, but auntie's waving you on like, oh, no, you first. You first.
Yeah.
That does not happen on the mainland.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Yeah. Road rage and everybody's cutting off everybody. Everybody's in a hurry. And I feel like, you know, having that background growing up here, you know, you do try to help out when you can. And I just kind of saw this as an opportunity of like, hey, I'm already flying to Hawaii. Like that's the hard part, you know, getting that from California to Hawaii. And so I was like, inter-island flight, like that's nothing for me, you know? And
Yeah.
so I was like, you know, I don't even think he's going to reply or even see this message, but if he does, I'm willing to help out. And that's just kind of how it happened. I think, you know, like I said, growing up here, you do have that kind of sense where, you know, you try to help everybody out, even if you don't know them per se. Like I do that for my boys for sure, but you know, if I can help somebody out and it's not going to be too much on me, like why not? So
No, that's super sick. That's super sick. And I vibe with that big time. You know, like I think just fresh out of LA, we got to link up with some cool people.
Yeah.
But just coming back home, I'm like, I can go anywhere, anytime on Kauai, and I feel so safe. You know what I mean? And just a sense of home and just everyone's kind of a lot more chill. Not kind of. Everyone's more welcoming, you know?
for sure.
And for sure you have those people who like love their privacy, and that's totally cool. But to your point, bro, I think just something about growing up here is I like it. I like to make people's day or help when can. You know, me and Brennan always talk about that. But it's super sick that you freaking took the opportunity, guy. You know,
I mean, even like I think you downplayed it a little bit because I think most people wouldn't have carried this big ass thing. Like say we're on the Big Island, I can see that.
Yeah.
But then you went to the Big Island and then jumped on another plane to Kauai for a few hours and then flew back. You know, so I mean, I want to make sure there's a little bit like
More context.
It's a little bit more than just that, which I thought was super cool. And I was like, oh, wait, he's gonna bring it here?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, like, are we gonna pay for your flight? Like, how is this? You're like, nah, don't worry. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Don't worry. You only came here and you didn't even take your helicopter tour.
I know.
So you literally came to Kauai to my mom eat
Twice.
lunch. Yeah, twice.
Twice.
To
Two for
deliver
one.
Bobby Boy.
Yeah.
But he's gonna get his ass beat. But anyway, yeah.
Bobby gonna get cracks.
Oh yes.
So we thought that was super cool. We thought, yeah. I mean, it was a pleasant surprise because the other option was you're going to be super weird. But that was the other option.
We appreciate it, but you're a weirdo.
or like, hey, I did this is what I always enjoy when I always love running into supporters, whether they're weird like me, whatever, or super chill and down to earth. I always love running into them. But when it's not transactional, even when it could have been where it's like, hey, I did this, like, can you do this for me? It wasn't like that. And dude, like I kind of get that often if and that's why I don't really ask for stuff. I don't want to ever be owing someone anything or whatever. Yeah. So, but when you totally was like there was a point at lunch where I'm like, oh, this kid, he's just chilling. Like, oh my God, he's not even asking for anything. You know what I mean? So that was huge. I was like, oh, this guy is just, he's just normal. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, even then, you weren't that normal. So it sounds weird, but, so like, then you go into the gambling story. Then you go into I mean, the thing I think I vibed with the most was the fact that you're, like, willing to swing. And we talk about this a lot. Like most guys, and I think this might be a local thing, is, like, they're so afraid of failure that they're not willing to, like, take any action. Versus I'm like, nah, let's just do it. This might not work. This might not work. This might not work. But maybe the fifth one works.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's all you need is that one. One or two things that, like, really hit, and then it's that. And I was like, oh, this is pretty sick. I mean, whether it was your dog's Instagram, like your choices of being a firefighter, because at that point, I think you're kind of still weighing on this, or maybe you just started LA or something. And then on top of that, like the gambling thing, right? It's just like, well, let's go and let's try and let's see what happens, you know? And that kind of mindset, I think, regardless, is super important, because that's what, like, it takes to, like, do stuff, right? It's because you're not going to necessarily be successful all the time. But at some point, something's going to click.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's super stoked.
And I feel like just, like, the social aspect of it, too, like, aside from, like, being able to just help somebody out, I think just getting to meet cool people. And, like, I mean, obviously, I've seen your guys' presence online, and, some people are a little bit different than how they, what they perceive or what they portray on social media. But I was like, oh, I'd want to hang out with them, So, yeah, if I can just take it over, cruise for a little bit, like, that's cool enough for me. And, yeah, I mean, I'm glad we were able to facilitate it and make it happen. And, like, you guys are cool. And like I said, if you're ever in LA, like, hit me up. And then vice versa, you're like, hey, if you're ever back here, like, hit us up and we'll cruise, we'll go eat, we'll do whatever, shoot one podcast.
Yeah.
I came back and I was like, hey, I'm flying back. Like, what days are you guys free? And, like, automatic, you're like, oh, we're going to be here this day, but, we'll make this day work. And I was like, all right, shoot, sounds good. And so, yeah, I feel like you miss those opportunities by not, opening yourself up, or at least having an open mind to being able to, meet different people in different ways.
No, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm clipping that. I'm just... Oh yeah, that's a great.
No, I mean, that we've got to meet so many cool people, right?
Bruh.
Like, we went up to LA for this one reason, which turned out to be not what we wanted.
Straight up.
But then we met all these other guys just because we were, like, open. We're like, well, we're here. Let's go, like, to this thing.
Yeah.
And let's go meet them. And then these guys just ended up being super sick.
Bruh, and I'm still talking to them. You know what I mean? So it's not like done, close the door, out. We got our film. Super cool guys. And vice versa though. Like when they come down, for sure we're gonna link up. Show them around and stuff like that. And it's just to your point, we were open to the idea or down for it.
Yeah. Like what turned out to be a situation that could have been a bummer, right?
Yeah.
And we could have just been, like, over it.
Yeah.
But instead, it's like, well, what else is there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of waste of time, you're like, oh, let's make the most of,
Totally.
the opportunity or the window.
And then like the older I get, it's just like attracts like, right? Like like-minded people will like jive with each other. So then it'll be like easy to hang out and chill, right? Versus like, even if you meet somebody and you don't have like similar, I don't know how to, like vibes, I guess. I mean, I don't know a better word, but like, then you just never hang out with each other again. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like over 10 years, you're like, just a list of like sick people that you've met in all different categories, in all different businesses, in all different places.
Yeah, doing all kind stuff.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, and that's kind of how I think it's important for guys to realize, because like that's how successful people are. You're like, wow, the guy's 50 and he knows all of these people, and it's crazy. How do you make that happen? Well, I mean, it's just get out of your house.
For sure.
Talk to people, like figure out what you like to do, and then make it happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like life is just like one big network. Like everybody says like networking is so important, but like when you really think about it and it comes down to it, like especially being in Orange County, like we live in a bubble, and at least I had the luxury of like coming here as much as I did and going away for school and like traveling abroad, living in Germany and all that. And it's like, you see so many different people from so many different communities, and it's like it's really easy to get stuck in one place and be like, this is all that there is, but there's so much more out there. And like, unless you have that open mindset, like you're talking about, like you're never going to be able to, reap the benefits of, getting to meet all these different people from different backgrounds that you might not have met if you didn't have that. So,
Bruh, 100%. Yeah. I always thought that I could never like be away from Kauai. And then an opportunity with Max came up. I mean, literally out of nowhere. It was a joke. Like, oh, if you're coming back Oahu next week, you might as well just move here. And I was like, bruh, no act, because I will. And literally 2 weeks later, I'm shipping my car there, and just it was just a point, I think, in my life where, because even then I was like, nah, like Kauai, home, my family, like I'm stoked here, and I don't need anything else. I don't even want anything else, whatever, and then I went to Oahu, traveled, met so many people through him that I still get to connect with, when I'm in their parts of town. And it's just opened my mind to so much more. And then even moving back and then working with Brennan, doing this podcast, I'm like, holy shit. It seems like every trip, every gig, every podcast, every whatever, my mind just gets like a little bit more big, because I just think the opportunities are like 10x, Oh, right? Like, oh shit, that person said that we should talk to this person on the podcast. Oh, like, oh, this person's coming down. Let me hit up my friend who knows. You know what I mean? It's just, like you said, the network is crazy, and it takes you to such crazy places if you just let yourself and be open to all that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the more you I've gotten to live other places, and the more you live other places, you realize everything's kind of the same, right? You have like good people, bad people, cool people. Like, yeah, the weather's a little bit different, and maybe like the history and the culture is a little bit different. But generally speaking, it's like people's people, so it's sick to be able to go all over and just find these like-minded people and just kind of like figure that out. And then it's just way more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But then it also makes like Hawaii that much more valued. I don't know what I hated Hawaii growing up. I was like, no, I need to leave, so I left. And then, later on you realize like, oh no, there was something kind of sick there, and then because of that, you come back and you like value it so much more.
Yes.
Right. Like if I never left, I think I'd just be like over it. And I think that was an important like part where it's like, to see that there are different ways and that Hawaii's not that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like people literally pay thousands of dollars to come here for a weekend,
millions.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. No, and then I'm like, like a spoiled little shit. Like, no, this place sucks.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I mean, how do you feel? Because like you kind of had that weird 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Like where you had lots of ties here and spent a ton of time here, and then but you also like grew up in the mainland, so you had this really like like duplicitous kind of upbringing, you know.
For sure. And I feel like how you were talking about that appreciation, like that you had coming back after being over there. I think I kind of had that the whole time, because every time I was here, I tried to make the most of it. And then whenever I'd have to go back, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was over there. But then at the same time, like depending on how long you're here, because I did live here for 1 year, like during college, I took a year off and lived here. But it's like there is a limited amount of things to do. Like obviously you can do things with different people, or, you know, go do different things, but I mean there's a set amount of things on an island that you can do.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about island fever and whatnot, and I think kind of how you're saying the quote the term over it, like talking to my cousins and like friends who have been here like their whole life and haven't like really gone anywhere else, like, and then they go there for college, like in California, they're like, whoa, there's like so many more things to do. And like, you know, I was getting kind of tired of it, but then at some point, you know, they still get drawn back here and they miss home after. And when they come back, they're like, oh, you know, I do have that newfound appreciation. Like I kind of took it for granted because that's the only thing I knew. But I think having that, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out you were talking about, and not necessarily being permanent here or there really, it's like, you appreciate what you have while you have it. And so I think for me, I kind of just try to make the most wherever I was, whether it was school and playing sports in California, or and like traveling across like the US over there because it's way easier, or, you know, being here and like getting to enjoy family time and like just beautiful hikes and, you know, beach all the time.
Catching
go
onos,
dive.
50-pound onos.
You know, but yeah, I think just that appreciation, I think it's all kind of perspective, you know, and how you're talking about like that lens changed for you once you moved and came back home. So,
yeah. Well, it's interesting too, though. I never hear anybody from like Columbus, Ohio say like, I just need to move back home, you know, or like some random part of like Michigan. Like, oh, I just need to go back. But it's kind of a common thing with like Hawaii guys. I mean, you like want to go back. A lot of people can't figure out how to go back, like financially, but they want to. You know, there's very few people. So there is quite like a unique thing here. I don't really understand it 100% of like that draws people who grew up here back. And I guess new people too. Obviously people are moving here all the time. And I think it's more than just like it's beautiful, but more than just that, like that nature beauty. You know, I wonder if it's like the pace, because like you're talking earlier, right? Like LA has an energy, and like this is the first time I think I really felt it. I'm like, oh wow, this shit's kind of draining me.
Yeah, no,
like because I've lived in like cities, and I'm like, I'm fine. This one just felt like, oh, I'm a little like depleted right now.
Yeah.
which I never really felt before. So I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, towards the last couple of days, I'm like, I don't want to see what's out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to leave this place, but I want coffee. So, you know, but yeah, and I can't, I don't know how to explain it, but like Brennan was saying, there's definitely a freaking energy there. I'm excited. Like when I first got there, I was so super excited. I'm like, yeah, bro, this is it. Honestly though, but by the fifth day, I'm like, guy, let's get the hell out of here. You know?
Yeah.
Like there ain't nothing for me to do back at home, but I just gotta be back.
Yeah. Well, I guess too, it's different because you're not like when you live there, you're in the swing of things now. You got your like job, you got like your routine, you know. So being there, it's like, well, especially because we just went last year, and did like all the like here's whatever, here's Santa Monica, here's downtown, here's
this farmer's market, this restaurant, you know.
So I mean, we kind of used it up all in that first round.
That's true.
and now we're like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, we even checked out freaking Hollywood, guy. What was it? Just Hollywood Boulevard, yeah.
Yeah, as the stars and all that stuff.
Guy,
Walk of Fame.
The shittiest. If my star ever gets on there, guy got hustled.
He got hustled.
I straight up. Everybody's like, bro, how'd you get hustled? I'm like, bro, I felt threatened. Straight up.
he got peer pressured into buying CDs. I was like, what are you doing?
Where is that CD?
I don't know.
Oh, I threw it away. Probably had viruses, that's why. For all you guys freaking listening, if you ever been to freaking Hollywood Boulevard, you guys know what we're talking about. That place is terrible.
No, we told you, let's go.
Bruh.
That's funny.
Oh no, these black dudes got him.
4. They had me cornered. What am I going to do? Box my way out of there? No, just take the $5.
I'll listen, I promise.
Yeah. They're like, oh.
No,
They're like, oh, what?
we're there for what, like half hour?
Half hour, guy.
We're
that
like, we're
happened.
out.
Yeah. No, it's complete garbage. Shitty. The worst. The worst place on earth. Gotta be. Because it's like a freak show to me.
Well, there's like 50 Spider-Man, right? Like,
Guy.
trying to get you to pay them to take pictures.
Yeah, I'm like, guy, you're from freaking the first Spidey outfit. That's so out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I need the Venom at least.
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm like, look at your freaking Mary Jane all worn out. She looks like she needs a bath.
I know.
Her hair is red, not because it's red, it's because she's freaking dirty. You know what I mean? I'm like, enough.
Yeah.
And Mickey and Minnie, what the hell you guys doing down here?
You're supposed to be in Anaheim.
Those guys got fired from Disneyland.
Yeah.
They're just like cruising Hollywood
Got
Boulevard.
caught freaking vaping in the back. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Taste this frosty ice, Mickey. No, seriously though, it's like it's just not. Now, never go there again.
Yeah, there's no reason to. Like I told you, I told you before.
He
When
did.
I'm like, we might not want to go here.
He did.
But like, I guess you have to, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody goes when they go to LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One
so-
and done.
One and done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad, and then back to, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm glad I got to see what life can be.
I'm glad I got my foot out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal, guy. Holy crap.
And then this time we got to hang out with a bunch more. I mean, it's gonna sound bad, but like Asians,
Yeah, choke Asians.
right? So we got to actually hang out in like Monterey Park area versus like it's a whole different vibe if you go like Hollywood, like West Hollywood, that whole scene.
Yeah.
Versus like these like really like high level like production guys who done it through YouTube and all these other things.
Bruh,
versus
made it.
like the Hollywood scene where it gets
Yeah.
really weird.
Sure. I mean, you see the TikToks of guys interviewing. Where were we?
We're at Venice. that
Venice.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
All
Venice
the
is
time.
crazy. So, like, when I lived there, none of that was really going off. Now you go to Venice and it's like 500 people, like, interviewing people.
Yeah.
Brah.
And you're like, wait, what's going on here?
Brennan, what you say? You see, look like you want to say something, brother. Say
No.
it.
Yeah, all the time. Like iPhone flipped upside down, voice recording app, asking all kind crazy questions.
Yeah, with the plug-in mic,
Yep,
brah.
yep. And all the time. And
No.
walking past and you're like looking on Instagram, you're like, hey, they got me in the background.
Yeah, no, seriously though. Seriously, there's one drunk skater guy, like, I mean, midday, it's probably like 4. And he was just like super drunk, just came in the interview. Kaveh was getting interviewed and freaking the guy was just tripping out. I'm like, get away from us, guy. What are you doing? No one's even talking to you.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
No, but that's Venice, man.
Yeah.
There's a whole different zone down there.
Super different. If you're willing to stomp on people's head to make it, like, that's where you go.
Yeah.
And that was a cold day, so that wasn't even like full blast.
Oh, I was freezing
Yeah.
that day, guy.
That's probably the coldest day in Venice in like years.
Yeah, bro, it's not even sun-dried raisins over there. It's just the sheer cold that turns them grapes.
It's like
just,
freezer burn.
yeah,
It's just like, ah.
freaking grapes are black. But yeah, so we got to hang in some different parts, and like Brandon was saying, the guys we're on Just Kidding News, just OG YouTubers, and brother, it's a team of guys. And then there was I forget the girl's name that was there too, but I think she's a part of the team now.
Yeah.
But it's so cool because if you look them up on their personal profiles, bro, they have so much stuff going on, like individually outside of the Just Kidding News channel. Ryan met this guy Ryan Ingram. He's one of the OG dancers from Quest Crew on America's Best Dance Crew. Freaking unreal, bro.
But they're all hustling too. That's the cool part.
Hustling.
Like being on Kauai, you're kind of like you're isolated because there's very few hustlers. When you're there, you're like, oh, this guy's hustling, that guy's hustling, that guy's hustling. and that's something that's super cool. You know, I wish we had that more here, and hopefully it grows. But yeah, there it's like, oh, like it's just full networking, full like, oh, this guy does that. Why don't you just go call him?
Yeah, full on.
Yeah, super easy. Whereas like here is like a huge barrier to access. Like, oh, we want to make sauces. Who do we call? Frick, I don't know. Nobody's here's done it.
Yeah.
So there's like, oh, that guy did one. Let's go talk to him, find out who his co-packer is.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting.
For real. Like just in the short time that we were there, we figured out this guy who runs his own editing company. You know what I mean? Like for me, like that's freaking sick that you got to a point where, I mean, for sure, it's a bottleneck for any creator, I would say, is the editing. And, you know, for him to not just edit, like one of the clients is Tiger Belly. Bro, he has a bunch more. You got to talk to him a little bit more, yeah?
Yeah, he's done like a bunch, right? Like Mike Tyson, like all these super high level ones.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just super into it. But then he started his own company, right? So he has like 10 people editing under him. So he's just killing, and he's just super nice guy.
Yeah.
You know, hustling, trying to figure out like, because we were there for a little while. But yeah, so I mean, just like discussing like why he does this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a better way. I do it like this because this, you know. So it was cool because you just get like a wealth of information super fast because he has so much experience. You know, and just cool things. And like, we're like, would you want to come down? Like, and I'll just put a class together for like kids.
Yeah.
And you can get like all these kids coming. Hopefully they can rise up as like editors or whatever little like part of like filming they want to do. Like that's something we hope to do is like bring down like the best camera guys, the best editors, the best whatever, storytellers, talent, whatever, set designers.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to being able to work or learn from people that you, I don't want to say like look up to, but like watch often or kind of have a part of, like for instance, like when I posted that we were on JK News, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, like that's the OG YouTubers, you know? I just feel like if we put on something for the kids, it's like, oh wow, we get to step into like how Howsdisguy or how his team does like content creation, like or sketch comedy or whatever, you know? Like I just feel like it would move them more than just some random uncle or something.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
Which is exciting. But yeah, guy, freaking. All to say is there's a lot more for us to do in LA, so we will be back.
We will be back.
We will be back. And what does your schedule look like? Is it the 4 on 3 off? Is that
so? We're on a modified Kelly schedule. So most of the Southern California departments, they'll be 48-96, 2 on, 4 off. And mine's actually kind of hard, and so it's nice that I've had this time off to be able to link up with you guys, see family and all that, because the schedule is pretty nuts and it's hard to keep track. It's just red, green, and black days on the calendar on the green days. But basically, the modified Kelly, we're 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, 2 off, 1 on, 1 off, 1 on, 4 off.
So it's always different days.
So it's just cycling. You never have like block days off until that 4-day really. And depending on if you volunteer for overtime or you get forced to work, like they can call me at 9 p.m. and say, hey, you're working tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, hey, sorry, everybody, I got to cancel plans. Like, I'm working tomorrow. But, yeah, so the schedule is pretty variable, and it's kind of hard to plan things. So, yeah, even, like, my boys will be like, hey, can we hang out, like, on Saturday? I'm like, I don't know. Last minute, maybe. Like, I'll be there if I can, but no guarantees, you know. But, yeah, the schedule is kind of a little bit hectic. We may switch over to 48-96, and I think planning-wise it's a little bit easier. But yeah, that's kind of the weird schedule we're on right now.
Major.
Yeah.
So you're always on then.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean?
Pretty much. Yeah. It's harder to like take trips and stuff, but like, unless you're going to like burn time or take a actual vacation, to block off those dates. Cause yeah, it's just so random. But I know our department, even the one luxury we do have with scheduling is you can trade shifts with people. So like I can go work for somebody, work their shift, and then they can pay me back by working my shift later on. So I work that shift for free for him, so his pay stub doesn't change that pay period. Oh. And then he's like an IOU kind, like, hey, I'll work for you when you need it on, you know, March 18th, whatever it is. And so, yeah, that kind of works out nice where we actually do have a lot of people commuting to our job. We have somebody who lives here on Hawaii, actually, Florida, and then like Idaho, Montana, Utah.
Wait, so they just load up like heavy?
And so they'll work 2 weeks straight or whatever it is. They'll just pick up a bunch of shifts for people, trades, and then they'll pay them all back and they'll work it out, or they'll have like a month off or 2 months off. And like you really only have to fly back and forth like 5-6 times if you like work it out. Like
what?
That's crazy.
Right?
That's heavy.
Yeah. So like with our schedule every other day, you're like, oh, you can't, there's no way you could live in Hawaii and fly back and forth every other day. But yeah, when you block it off like that, you can really only fly up 5-6 times total for the year.
Mental.
Oh, that's crazy. Oh, that means you can get some time then, hopefully.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing too. Like I was telling you guys, I just got off probation like a little over a month or 2 ago. And now I have the luxury of being able to take days off and do these like trades. Whereas when you're on probation, you're not really allowed to do that. And cause you're like basically on less days, you're shortening your probation by taking days off and doing these trades or whatever. So yeah, now that we have that luxury, it is nice because when I'm at work, you know, go to work and like in the zone, like I was saying, like last month, I was only off for like 8 days, but then the benefit is this month I was able to take, 2.5 weeks off and be able to come home and spend time with family and, do stuff for this break of time without having to worry about work. So.
I mean,
yeah. That means you have to come to Kauai more often.
Yeah.
It's for real.
Guaranteed.
for Just Cruise.
Yeah, Just Cruise.
But then we'll probably slide in one more podcast.
Episode 2.0.
Yeah, to follow up. You know what I mean?
Nah, bring the Frenchie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get a translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
That would be crazy if they made that.
Dude, they probably did.
Imagine that when AI.
Just like
that
the
can-
dogs from Up.
Yeah. Oh.
The collar.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
How's it?
My name, Doug.
Yeah. What's up, brother? But imagine it just transcribes, yeah? Oh, and then imagine that you read that and you just realize you get one devil dog. You're like, whoa, shit. That's really what you... If I had hands, if I could stand on my hind legs, I would just cut you up and I would pedigree your ass.
It's like all the chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Angry chihuahuas.
Whoa, heavy.
Whole new world.
Yeah.
Wait, so your family is from Hilo?
Yep.
W-
Born and raised.
Hilo town?
Yep.
Nice, okay. So what, are they excited for Merry Monarch and stuff like that?
Yeah, they do get excited. I think being over there, it's hard to watch. Got to find a stream and stuff like that. But then, obviously, when we're here, it's one big celebration. So
Yeah.
a whole event.
Yeah, bruh.
Because it'd be kind of crazy to go. I've never been
Me neither.
when it's going on, so it might be crazy to be there.
Yeah.
Because like everything is like packed, right?
I mean, if you're not wearing kappa, loin cloth, you're out.
Yeah.
You're in the way. You know what I mean? If you don't show up with your...
lose it.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you don't come out with your you're done. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Nah, but for real, I felt so out of place up there. I never got the chance to go and watch one, but freaking just being in Hilo Town during it is it's so cool, bruh. I encourage anybody to do it, whether you're like, I'm not versed in Olelo and stuff like that, so I still think you should go if you have the chance. It's pretty mean.
Yeah.
I think even bigger than like World Series, everybody's TV, even if they're not there in person, that's what's on everyone's TV in every house, like during that time.
I mean, can you imagine the aunties just tuning in live stream? Yeah, my daughter's away. You know what I mean? Like
Spamming the heart, the like button on the live.
72 hours every day. 72 2 hours daily. She would spend duck walking.
Yeah.
Bend that back, girl. Mana wahine. Oh my gosh. So awesome. But yeah, bro, mahalos for, popping in, Bran. I don't know, Bran, if you have anything else that you want to vala'au about, we got time. If not.
I mean, the important question is, where are we going to go eat after this?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how we're going to end it all the time.
Yeah.
No, that's a great, because because that's just so clean. You know, what a clean break, actually.
We should press the right one.
I know. Nah, but Brennan, no, for real though, guy. Mahalos for, you know, from the very first day of bringing Bob down to just always popping in, you know, whenever we're down. Appreciate it. And great podcast, guy. Freaking, I think people are gonna be stoked to hear, you know, what it's like from one perspective, from one kind of local brada in California putting out fires, big dog.
You know that.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say mahalos to you two for having me on. Like I said, when you messaged me, like, hey, when you're here, let's hop on the pod. And I was like, I'm not even that interesting, you know, but
guy,
you know,
that's the thing. I think it's like, you kind of are.
No, yeah, 100%.
And hopefully we like ask the right questions to bring it out.
Yeah.
But, like every time we talk to you, we're like, wait, what do you mean?
yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?
How you did
gambling?
that?
Like,
yeah.
What do you mean this? Like,
now you'll be surprised because trust me, like Lila, every guest that we have on, Trevor Wallace, they're always like Chucky Boy. So we've had some mental guests on, you know, and you're in the same boat in just from what we're genuinely interested in, guys who, you know, swing, always trying, and are always just down for the action, you know, and trying to do stuff. So, but it is always the same thing where they're like, hey, I hope you guys we got way more than what we could have asked for, you know. And the fact that these are never scripted, it always just comes out how it comes out is beautiful, you know. So, Guy, thank you again, and you will be back on the next time you're in Hawaii.
Automatic.
If there's anything that you would like to tell 267,000 people, whether it's your dog's account, your account, or handles that you want them to check out, you can tell it into this camera right here.
Shoots. Well, yeah, first I just want to say thanks again for having me on. I appreciate it. And from the first time bringing Bobby Boy down, like, I'm glad we were able to meet and create that connection and that friendship. And, you know, now you guys can always hit me up and I can always hit you up, and I know that. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I hope everybody enjoyed the podcast, and my personal page, not too exciting, just a couple fires here and there. But if you want to follow the puppy, her Instagram is @LuluTheBlue. Make sure to give her a like, follow, cute puppy pics, and we'll try to be more consistent with the content we're pushing out for her. So
yeah, we got to get her fed.
Stay tuned, guys. Lulu the Blue.
The Blue.
Let's go. Mahalos, Brennan.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey.
Oh, wrong one. I was putting down the one there.
What is
that? I was putting down the Bluetooth. I was like, guy, what is up with this thing today? Yes. Oh, I forgot to ask you, is this your first podcast that you've been on?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, first one.
Guy.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I think it's pretty cool. Like, I was even telling my sister, like, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I was like, I don't really know what we're going to talk about, or, you know, if I'm going to run out of things to say, or, you know, just, you know, I'm not like too shy, like public speaking or in front of a camera or anything, but I was like, yeah, what if I just like freeze up, and it's not like just an audio. It's like the video's there too, you know? I was like, yeah.
So some guys, I know we had the director of the Kauai Museum, old local brada, you know, real old, local style. Mm-hmm. But when he came, he said, "Oh, you guys really have the setup here," and I didn't know what that means, you know, like, because in the beginning I was like, "Oh shit," when I first started doing this, but what do you think though after doing it? Like,
I mean, I feel like I was telling you guys the first time, like, just talking with you guys and just like talking story. It's like, it's easy. Like, I feel like if I lived here, or if like you guys were up there for whatever reason, like, you guys are just people I'd want to hang out with, you know, outside of all of this, outside of being the dummy, outside of the podcast, whatever, like just cool guys I'd want to hang out with and just talk story with. So I feel like for me, it was like, I mean, you definitely have like a legit setup, but I feel like it was comforting, and like it takes some of the nerves away, like having that, like, I guess, connection or that type of relationship. But yeah, I felt like it went pretty smooth. Like,
no, it's super
that was good.
smooth. Yeah,
solid. Like, I just think there's good, like, because we don't pick anybody based on like their followings. I think that's kind of what most guys do, especially in Hawaii. They're like, oh, this person has this many followers. If I have them on, I'm gonna grow my thing. We're kind of like the opposite. We're like, I don't know. A lot of the people who do have a lot of followers, you might not have that great conversations with. So we're like, oh, who are we interested in?
Yeah.
Why are we interested in them? You know,
more so than just the number.
and we think we hope people resonate with that.
Yeah.
Because it just should be a better conversation, right? It's less awkward. Like, I don't have to like BS and be
Yeah.
like, well, that's so cool. Yeah. I'm like, whatever.
And that's the thing. And, you know, like you said it though, because it's like every guest that we've had so far for what I can remember is like people that we would actually and do hang out with outside of all this.
Yeah.
You know, so like to Brand's point when he says like, because you can watch some podcasts and it's just, it has to be that way because of that dynamic where you're trying to get to know someone that you really, you know, that you don't know.
They just met for
That you just,
you know, in the past
right.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Exactly. So where for us, like we get to, it's just so beautiful because we get to really just shoot the shit about, and about like the stuff that we're interested in you that you do. So, but naturally, like, you know, everyone's always like, oh, I hope I gave you guys what you got, or I hope you guys got a good pot.
Yeah.
It always is like above and beyond.
Yeah.
Always.
No, and this is just the conversation we would have anyway.
Yeah.
Like if like there's no cameras, no stuff, like, and that was kind of the like why we started is like,
Yeah.
we just always had good conversations with people.
Yeah.
You know, our people we liked at least, and we're like, well, we might as well put it out there. Hopefully, somebody benefits from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully somebody gets something from it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's guys who like legitimate, like how I said, like they grew up in Hawaii. They have a bunch of donkey friends who are like kind of, you know, they hang out in their garage. They kind of don't do much.
Yep.
And then just to know like, oh no, there's other stuff out there.
Yeah.
Right. It's just exposure. But yeah. And like, cause your story to me is like, I mean, obviously it's still like going, but like riveting, right? Like, oh yeah. Like I went to Vegas and learned how to like work this like theory I had to gamble, and I made money. I did this. And then now we run this thing with our dog. It's just like, kind of a hustle game, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel like when you were talking about like, you know, hustlers and like attract like and all that, I feel like it's definitely true because I feel like to have that, like some people just have it or some people don't. And it's like my crew, like at the station, like really messes around with me all the time because they're like, oh, Brennan always has an angle or like he always has, you know, whatever. And I feel like it's just something you either have or you don't. Like even from like college time, like I was like flipping concert tickets.
Yeah.
And like people knew me on campus as like the lightning cable guy. Cause I would just, if you could sell it for a profit, I would do it. And so like, I like product tested literally iPhone chargers. And I found one that was only like 20 minutes slower than the Apple certified one.
Yeah.
But it lasted longer.
Wow.
And I bulk ordered from China and I just started flipping like iPhone cables. So like people like on campus would be like, hey, you have any lightning cables? And I'd whip it out of my backpack, quick Venmo, cash, whatever. And it's just like, people really never think about that. And some people, like, especially with all this stimulus and all this stuff, they're like, oh, like, there's no good jobs out there. Oh, like, the job market sucks right now. Like, the thing I want to do isn't there. But, like, you can literally monetize anything.
Yep.
It's just how much effort you want to put into it. And if you have that mentality to, like, you know, go about it and that hustler mentality, like you were saying. And I feel like people who share that, like you said, it's just easy to,
which is interesting too. You're like, oh, and a lot of times like you'll come at an angle that I just never thought about, right? Like, oh, that's pretty sick. Like I like that whole industry I had no like thoughts on or exposure to. So now like, oh, that's cool. That's good to know. Yeah. Like, and like you said, there's never a way not to make money. Yeah. Like, you know, it's either you do or you don't want to do it. Yeah. You know, there's so many opportunities, and don't get me wrong, it's still work. It's not like you were like a little kid and like, what I'm going to be when I grow up? I'm going to be a lightning cables sales hustler. You know, it isn't that kind of shit. It isn't the fucking, you know, maybe the firefighter thing. Yeah. That's like the, like when you stand in front of the class kind of deal.
For sure.
But generally speaking, there's tons of opportunity out there. Yeah. And that's like the beauty of America, right? Is like, there is that opportunity, you know?
Yeah. Cause I was like growing up, you always think like, oh, entrepreneur, like you have to have some like innovative idea or invent something and create this whatever it is, but no, really it's just, you know, something that people either need or just like enjoy, something that you know. And it's like, I don't know if we talked about this the last time I was here, but like during COVID, like one of my things, like how you're saying like attracts like, one of the guys I would like resell like Supreme and like shoes and all that kind of hype beast stuff with before, he started this Facebook group called Luck of the Draw, and then he asked me to be an admin because he didn't have enough time to
Yeah.
facilitate the page. And basically our goal was to have somebody on the page at all times of the day, so people wouldn't leave our Facebook group and go try to spend money in other groups. And so basically what it was COVID, all sports were shut down, and there was really nothing to watch, like unless you're watching like Korean baseball or something like that. And so he was like, hey dude, I know you have money, like, or like extra funds from like reselling or whatever. And he's like, I know you have that same mentality I have, like, do you want to be an admin in my group? And he kind of was like, yeah, just tune in, see if it's something you'd be interested in. And I'm a big sports guy, gambling, whatever. And so what we did was we literally opened sports cards, like, and like,
bro, you guys are breaks,
and so like literally like just like this, I was like on live stream, phone right here in front of my hands, like opening cards for people, and I was like literally making money opening cards for people
because they were buying it.
Yeah, that they could open themselves. But I was like, there's literally no excuse to not make money, because I was like, I'm literally opening other people's stuff for them.
That's so fun. That's so fun, guy.
Yeah, and then like they're like literally paying for me,
and they're stoked.
Yeah. And like we hit like some crazy cards. Like one guy in our group, he was like, I mean, not guy, he was a kid. He was 13. He paid $130 for a spot in this break. We did like team breaks and raffles and all kinds of stuff. And then he got the Pelicans based on just the random draw. And then he pulled a Zion Williamson like rookie patch autograph card. They ended up getting it graded, and the other admin flew out, hand delivered it to him. They got it graded, and his $130 spot he paid, like, it's basically like gambling, because you might end up with shit cards and lose $130, or you might end up with good cards and you can sell it and make profit. It's like literally gambling. And there was no sports betting at the time and stuff, but yeah, he turned around and I think he sold the card for like $90,000.
Oh,
like a little
it got graded. 13-year-old kid, $130 spot, and it just so happened like he hit that banger.
Damn.
That's so sick.
Shout out Zion.
Yeah.
We need you on the pod, brother. Oh.
That's super sick. Well, that exactly that though. Like, there's just so much opportunity. Like, especially with the internet now, that's like the great equalizer, right? It's like everybody has access to everybody now.
Yeah.
Versus before, you had to like go through the gatekeepers. So it's super sick. Yeah.
I mean, these chakra warriors, bro, they figured it out on TikTok. They live stream and they sell freaking rose quartz crystals. I blow my mind.
Charged up.
All aligned. They tell. They say, you might be aligned, but you're not really aligned until you get my Wailua charged. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's gnarly.
TikTok.
Shit.
Yeah, I feel like, it's just like there's no excuse now. It's just
If you want to or you don't. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, these guys are all sick. They had like, all the guys we just met, they had like all their own like studios, but just for renting out.
Bruh.
Like one guy is like, owns like this boba place in Oahu.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny, just random. You know, and they have their own studios that they do their main content out of, but just all their random like side jobs. You're like, huh. Oh, you're just a videographer for music videos.
But the music videos, you know what I mean? Like they have reds on big cranes and shit. I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn, that budget must be gnarly.
Yeah. So just like all kinds of crazy shit. And they're just like normal guys. And I think there's a difference between like the Asian guys and the white guys. Yeah. Like for sure. The white guys are just like way more about like the hype, and the Asian guys are like about the hustle. Yeah. Because even though all these guys are like millionaires, you wouldn't. It's the opposite, right? Like when you go to West LA and all these dudes are like flaunting all their shit, but they're kind of not really there. And then these guys are just there, but they're like, fuck, whatever. Yeah.
They're there, and they fucking work like they're just starting.
Yeah.
It's so sick to see, because, you know, being in the same lines of work, like we hit up Gilbert. He runs the sound and he's a producer for Tiger Belly. He just started, and it's so funny because like when they say, we're starting our own production company, or we're starting to, bruh, you look at it, you're like, oh shit, this thing is gonna do well. If it's consistent, they're gonna kill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, his gonna be sick. He's partnered with the guy who started Donut Media, but they're starting like a fight one. Okay. like very similar to Donut Meet, just like how they format it. But I'm like, oh, you guys are gonna probably do super good.
Yeah.
They got all the funds, they got all the stuff. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. They have the access to like the people that they be tapping on the show. What is it?
The cast of John Wick. That was who they were interviewing.
Yeah.
The one that didn't come out yet. Like,
Oh
they're
my
like,
God.
oh yeah, I got to interview all the cast is for the fights thing. So it's just stuff like that where you're like, oh, these guys they'll do it.
No, yeah.
Yeah. And it's sick. They're all super cool. It's like hang out, just normal guys.